All right. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me ask everybody here who is joining from the teams. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? Thank you. Thank you. So, again, thank you for joining this event. And I hope you guys are learning a lot of Copilot stuff today, especially, how you transform the way you work. We have a lot of content on the Copilot. In this session, we are going to focus more on Microsoft Forms and Power Automate. A little bit more on the SharePoint side because I'm gonna be demoing when somebody fill up the form, where we go and store that information and how we can build the Power Automate to automate our daily task. So that is what we're gonna do in this session without writing any code. So again, about me, my name is Prakash Acharya. I'm a cloud solution architect based out of Chicago, and I've been with Microsoft almost 7 years now. And my focus area, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Power Platform. So let's go and start. So agenda for today is we're gonna learn a little bit about Microsoft Forms. It's pretty easy, very easy tool in Microsoft Stack there. And we're gonna be learning more about Power Automate. And at the end, we'll do the demo. Okay, what is Microsoft Forms? So Microsoft Form is it's a web-based tool that lets you create surveys, any kind of quiz or polls without any coding experience. And it is a part of M365 suite. It works seamlessly with tools like Excel, Teams, SharePoint, Power Automate, Power Apps. And you can customize the forms the way you want it, whether you are collecting the data, or whether you are collecting any responses from the participants. And you can collect those data, you can view the data in real time. It is designed to be very user-friendly, so anyone within your organization can use it. They don't need any kind of heavy technical skills to use Microsoft Forms. Some of the key features of Microsoft Forms here. The first one is simple creation interface. So it is designed for everyone. No coding, no any design skills needed. There are plenty of templates available that you can apply. Variety of question types. So you can choose, like when you are designing your forms, you can choose any kind of multiple choice questions, text, ratings, dates, and more. Those are the things that you can go and put those questions in those formats. There's logics and brandings available. So you can, let's say, a user answer a question, and based upon the answer, you can also deviate that, whatever the next question is, you can deviate the questions for that particular user based upon the answers. Another one is real-time responses. As people respond, you will see the live updates with charts and graphs. You don't need to build those reports manually. Integration with M365. Forms work seamlessly with Excel, SharePoint, or OneDrive, or Teams, making it easy to store, share, and collaborate on the data. And there is a collaboration and setting. You can share your forms via email, via link, or you can embed within a website. So it's easy to collaborate with other users too. Let's say two of you are working on a single form, you can collaborate with that user. Plenty of customization options available. So you can brand according to your organizations. You can put the logos, themes, images, videos, and make it more engaging. And the last one is security and privacy. You can control who can access your forms, or whether you wanted to collect the responses from anonymous users. So today what we're going to do is we're going to build a form, and I'm going to present you a QR code. If you have a phone, just scan the QR code and just try to fill it in and see how that is going to be. Okay, so those are the two slides about Microsoft Forms. Let's move on towards the Microsoft Power Automate. So here we'll explore more about Power Automate. First of all, Power Automate is a cloud-based automation tool from Microsoft. It helps you streamline the repetitive tasks to build the business processes without writing a code. So when I say without writing a code, sometimes you have to write a simple expressions. But again, there are plenty of use cases where you don't even have to write those. Power Automate reduced, the main goal is to reduce any kind of manual work, reduce the manual work by automating those routine actions so that you can focus more on the things that you need to do. It is very user friendly. You can drag and drop those controls in the when you are designing the flow. Low code, again, low code. Sometimes, as I said before, you can write simple expressions. Anybody, even a non-developer, can actually build the workflows. Flexible and scalable, so you can have a simple approval process, or you have a very complex enterprise workflow with a lot of steps involved. You can do that. You can scale your workflows. Seamless integration, you can connect over 1,000 apps and services. And there are like the services like you can use within M365, SharePoint, Salesforce, either first-party, third-party applications. And also boost the productivity by automating the time-consuming tasks. It frees up your time, your time for more strategic work, or help your team focus on the things that they need to be focused on. Okay, what are the different types of process automation you can do using the Power Automate? The first example there in here is old app without APIs. And on the right-hand side, you see modern system with APIs. So Power Automate bridges that gaps between the on-premises and cloud. Here, let's talk about this desktop-based robotic process automation. That is one type of process automation you can do in Power Automate. Another one is cloud-based digital process automation, or DPA. That is the second type of process automation you can do in Power Automate. So desktop-based RPA, or robotic process automation, it is used when the app does not have a connector or an API. That is when it is used. So your use case can be, let's say you have a very old system, desktop system. You are automating the data entry in an old desktop app by teaching the Power Automate how to open it, how to fill in certain forms, and how to click the save button. That you can do it using the Power Automate. When we talk about the cloud-based digital process automation, there are plenty of pre-built connectors to automate the tasks. There is about 380 plus cloud apps like Outlook, SharePoint, Teams that can be used to build those desktop flows. And if there is any connectors that is not available, your developers can build those connectors for you. So in our today's session, what we're going to do is we're going to focus more on the cloud-based digital process automation. So type of cloud flows that can build in the cloud base. The first one is automated flow. Second one is instant flow and scheduled flow. So automated flow is start automatically when a specific event happens. Let's say you build a flow. When the email comes to your inbox in your Outlook, you want it to process that email, right? That is the automatic flow. Instant flow is triggered manually. That means a user have to go and click a button to trigger that flow. And after they trigger it, then what is built within that flow, it will do what it's supposed to do. And the last one is scheduled flow. Let's say you have 5 o'clock at Friday, 5 o'clock, you need to send a report to your manager. Then you schedule that, you set the time once a week at 5 o'clock, Friday, send this email. So it will do that. So these are the three different types of cloud flows that you can go and build using Power Automate. Okay, while building Power Automate, there are three very important components that we always look into: connector, trigger, and actions. So let's look at what is a connector. Again, it's more technical here. A connector is a proxy or a wrapper around the API. It allows you to talk to those underlying services. And it provides a way for a user to connect to their accounts and also use set up pre-built actions or triggers to build the apps and workflows. So those are the connector. There are plenty of connectors available, about 1,200 connectors available, and there are connectors coming every month. So again, there are connectors for Salesforce, connector for any kind of like a third-party system that you are using today. There are two different kinds of connectors. One is a standard connector, another one is a premium connector. Standard connectors comes with a standard license, TDL license. The premium connectors, you have to have some kind of paid license to use those premium connectors. Especially, let's say you have a SQL server that is running in your on-premises and you want to pull the data from the SQL server. At that time, you need a premium license to pull the data or push the data to the SQL server. And also, if there isn't any connectors that is available for you, then you can always go and create your own custom connectors. Okay, let's talk about the trigger. A trigger is a starting point for the flow. That means this is the first thing happen. That means one example is when the email comes to your Outlook, or when an item is created on a SharePoint list. That is a trigger. There are many triggers available based upon the connector that you pick. Let's say you pick SharePoint. SharePoint has, I think, about more than 15 or 16 different triggers available that you can use. That you can see in the screen on the very right hand side. Those are some of the triggers for the SharePoint. And the middle one is for the Teams, and there is Office 365 Outlook has its own triggers too. A trigger can be started manually, it can be scheduled, and it can automatically when an external event happens. And always remember that a flow can have just one trigger, It can have many actions, and we're going to learn about what the action is here in a few slides here. So we talk about triggers, right? The first one is instant cloud flows. That means cloud flows that perform one or more tasks after it is triggered manually. There is an example. There's a flow with the tap of a button on your mobile device to remind your team to join the daily team meeting, right? You can build that kind of flow and just have your mobile device, put a button there. When you push the button, all you have to do is push the button, it send a reminder or send an email to all your team members. Another kind of flow here is scheduled cloud flow. So cloud flows that perform one or more tasks after it is triggered by a defined schedule. Like for example, once a day, once an hour, or a minute, that you can schedule that when the flow will run. Example there is a flow run once per week to send a project report. And the third type of flow is automated cloud flow. So this one, cloud flows that perform one or more tasks automatically after it is triggered. So let's look into the action, the third component of Microsoft Power Automate. So action is a single step in a Power Automate flow that perform a task, like sending an email, posting a message in a Teams chat or Teams channel. A flow can include multiple actions. So let's break it down. You have a connector, first component. Second one is a trigger, just one trigger per flow. But you can have a multiple actions. Let's say you send an email, and right after you send the email, you're going to send a message to the Teams channels. And then after that, you process that data, write a SharePoint list, update the SharePoint list. A lot of those things are actions. So there are plenty of built-in actions that we can use when you are building a flow. Like for example, conditions. If this thing happened, if the condition is true, go to the right-hand side of the branching and do following things. If that is not true, then end the workflow or send an email. Like for example, you send approval to a manager. Manager approves it. That means if manager approves it, if the outcome is approved, then send an email, confirmation email. If the outcome is denied, then saying that, sorry, I cannot do following things, right? Those are the things you can do. And there are other things that like looping. You need to process thousands of items on the SharePoint, then you need to loop it. So you can use apply to each. There are more data operations like filter, parse JSON. Those are the things that you can use in a flow, and also variable actions that you can use it. Here, more information about some of the controls that can be used. There's condition, there's a switch, apply to each, do loop, do until, scope. All of those things can be used. I don't want to go very technical today because I just wanted to. The purpose of this session here is to, without any coding, let's go and build the Power Automate flow. So I'm going to just go through this. This slide deck will be available for you after this. And these are some of the variables. So again, I'm going to focus another areas here is enhancing workflows with Copilot and Power Automate. So we are also going to look at how Copilot in Power Automate is changing the way we adopt automation across our business processes. So with Copilot, you don't need to be a developer. Simply with a natural language, like daily you talk to your colleagues, with a natural language, you type in there saying that, build me a flow to do certain things. And it will give you a suggestion. It will give you steps. And you just have to accept, keep talking to the Copilot saying that, oh, this formula doesn't work, or this step doesn't work. So that is how you can use Copilot to build the automation, to build the flows. Again, the second one there is says guided flow creations. So that is one of the most powerful aspects, that the Copilot is not going to leave you after the suggestion. It will stay with you entire time until you are happy with your flow. And the last one is enhanced productivity. Again, this tool is about speed and impact, right? Teams can save, reduce repetitive work. You can deliver the outcome faster while you are focusing on the things that really matters to you. So that's it. My demo here is going to be based upon a scenario. So the scenario is this one. Let's say in your organizations, your laptop, something happens to your laptop. Something happens, let's say you have a big event, you need a projector. Rather than sending an IT an email or filling that PDF form, scanning and sending via manual way, why not we build a Microsoft form? So we're going to use a Microsoft Forms as a data entry. And after then, once that is submitted, we're going to write that data that equals to a SharePoint list and then process through Power Automate. In this scenario, what I have pre-built is I have an inventory of how many laptops, how many desktop, how many cameras or projectors that I have. I am an IT person. I have all those in my system. And then somebody requests it, it will look at whether that is available or not. If it is available, then it's going to send an email saying that, yep, we are going to deliver this on this date. If that is not available, then we're going to keep the request and say that whenever it is available, we'll give it to you. And it's just a use case. You can have 1,000 different kinds of use case that you can use using Microsoft Forms, Power Automate, SharePoint. So let's go and build that in the demo. So this is my, let me share this screen here. Okay, you guys can see my screen. Okay, first of all, I'm going to show you my inventory. This is my inventory. I have a laptop 35, projector 7, camera 4, tablet 17, and microphone 9. I am IT. I have this inventory, and then we're going to go and build a form now. So this is Microsoft Forms. Very easy to create forms. You can create a feedback, registration, research, quiz. These are some of the templates that you can use. So here, for now, what we can do is we can start from the scratch. We can click on the new form. And in here, I'm going to say, first of all, I'm going to start with the text. And my question here is requester name. And I'm going to make it required. Next question I'm going to ask is requester email. I'm going to make it required to. And I can go and make a restriction, say it has to be an email. Third question that I'm going to ask is a department. And the fourth question that I'm going to ask is as a choice. And I'm going to make this as a drop down. And this one is a item name. And I'm going to put the same information that I have in my inventory list, which is my laptop. Option 2 is going to be camera. Third option is microphone. Projector. And the last one is tablet. Okay. So let's say these are the 4 questions I have in my form. I can simply preview it. This is how it's going to look like. Go back. There are some settings. You can go and take a look at it. Like these settings here. As I said, this form can be exposed outside your organization. So you can send a link to somebody not from your organization. They can also fill it in. So just for this this demo session, since you guys are outside of this tenant, I'm going to make this as a anyone can respond, means anonymous access. I can start date, end date, when this form is going to be live. I can also set up some time durations there, but here I'm going to accept the responses. I'm going to hide the submit another response so that I just want a user submit just one time. And let's see what other things I wanted to. Let's go and save this form as a loaner request. I'll just put that in there just so that I know this is the form that I'm going to be using in Power Automate. Okay, my forms is done. Now, next thing, when somebody submit this form, I want this data to be stored on the SharePoint site. So what I'm going to do here is in the same site that I have, this is my SharePoint site. I'm going to create a list. And in this list, I'm going to name this as equipment loaner request. Create a list. And there are a few columns that I need to add in this list. So it comes with the title automatically. So let's say I'm going to put requester name. Just leave without name. Easier. Next column I'm going to create here requester email. Another one is a department. And here I'm going to put this as an item name. And let's say this is as a choice. I'm going to put dispatch status. And some of the choices here is awaiting dispatch. Returned. Dispatched. And I'm going to add one more, awaiting availability. And save this. The last column that I want to add here is a choice column. This is going to be a request status. And my options will be pending, completed, canceled. Okay. So again, recap, we build a form. We capture 4 different information from the form. And then when somebody submit the form, I will write that request to my SharePoint site. Next thing is we're going to start building the flow. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to go and start the automated cloud flow. Here, the first thing that I can go and select is a trigger. I don't have to. I can select the trigger in the next screen. I can simply skip it. But I know what exactly I wanted to do. What is my trigger? My trigger is the first item there, which is when a new response is submitted. That is a Microsoft Forms trigger. So I'm going to select that. Create it. Okay. And then it's going to ask me form ID. This is going to be the same form I just created. And the name of the form is Loaner Request NCDIT. I'm going to pick that. Next step is I'm going to get the response detail. So I'm going to go to Forms, select Microsoft Forms, and there is only one action available for Microsoft Forms. There is one trigger, one action, which is get response detail. Here it's going to again ask me for form ID. I'm going to select the same form, Loaner Request NCDIT, and response ID is going to be, as you can see, response ID here. Right? So always when you are building Power Automate, always have a habit of saving this form or name it nicely. So I'll just say demo 101 here and go and save it. Now I have a trigger, which is when a response is submitted. Get response detail is an action. I can go and add as many actions as I need. The first action I'm going to add here is, let's say this is a variable. And in this one, I'm going to set initialize variable. Here, I'm going to say loan ID. This is going to be a string variable. And in here, I just wanted to, create that ID of the request, something meaningful, something unique, rather than having 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. I have this formula here, this expression here. I'm going to copy here. So go to the value in the expression. This is my expression here. So my request will start from EQ dash, and after then I'm going to use UTC now in that format. So it's going to give me a nice EQ dash and then some random numbers based upon what time is it right now. Okay, that is my loan ID. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a variable. And again, I'm going to do initialize variable. Name this as a requested item. And again, this is a string variable. Here, I know I got this response from the user. Requested item is the item name that I got it from the get response detail steps. Okay, 2 of my variables are ready. Always good idea to name this accordingly so that later on you know exactly which variable that you are using it. So here I'm going to put this as an item name. Keep saving. So next step is I need to pull the inventory. So the requests come in. So I need to know how many items, let's say a laptop was requested, how many laptops do I have? So here, next step, I'm gonna go use a SharePoint connector. And there is an action called get items. My SharePoint site is this NCDIT. Sometime it won't resolve it. So what I have to do is I'm gonna have to copy this URL. If it is not here, actually it is here. That is my SharePoint site. My list name of my inventory is going to be loaner inventory. And in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter so that title equal to requested item. So I get all the items. Let's say somebody requested a laptop, then it's going to pull all the inventory from there. Next step is I am going to use a compose, which is a data operation. And in here, I'm going to use a quantity so that I wanted to, I know what, I wanted to know how many quantity do I have. So it's going to, if we don't know what it is, you can search for it right there from the get quantity. As soon as I pick the quantity, what this is going to do is going to start the looping. So it's going to put in a for each loop. So it knows. So next thing that I want to do here is add a condition. And my condition is output of my compose, or actually let's rename this compose as QTY. QTY. Here, outcome of the QTY compose step, if that is greater than 0, what that means is if that is greater than 0 means there is some items in the inventory, right? In my yes side of the condition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the SharePoint list so that I'm going to subtract one item from my inventory list. So this is a SharePoint connector that I have to use. And the action that I want to use is update item. So this is going to be an NCDIT SharePoint site that I used. Name of the inventory list is loaner inventory. And this ID is going to be get items ID. So what I am going to do in the quantity is I'm going to use a formula. And this formula is going to be expression formula here, sub. And this is where, is when I say minimal coding or no coding, sometimes, again, I'm going to show you some Copilot stuff. Copilot can easily help you write those kind of things. So in natural language, you can say, how do I subtract my inventory using inventory when this thing happened? Copilot will give you the expression that you can usually use it. So here, I'm going to just copy. I have the formula, and I will explain it. So here, what I'm doing is output from the quantity. Let's say I get 35. I'm going to use. I'm going to subtract 1 from that inventory. So go and select OK. And next step that I want to do here is let's see. I'm going to create a request. Again, the SharePoint site, the list that we created already, earlier. I'm going to add an item. create an item. So in this step, select the site, which is NCDIT, and the list item is our request system, right? Equipment loaner request. As soon as I put that list name here, it's going to ask me, okay, what are these information? What is the title? So we know the title. Title is going to be a loan ID that we created earlier. Requester name, we're going to pull from Microsoft Forms, which is right here. Get response detail, requester name. Requester email, same thing. Department, again, same thing. Item name, we have the item name, which is requested item. And these two things here, I can say that when the item is created. So here I'm going to say dispatch status value is going to be awaiting dispatch. And request status value, I'm going to say this is pending. Okay. And at the very end, I'm going to email the person who requested this. Send an email. And this is going to be the person who requested it. Requester email. I'll just put dispatch. I'll just put here this test. Your item has been received and we are processing. Okay. And on the no side of the condition, let's say there is no items available. Somebody requests a laptop, there is 0 item. So at least I wanted to capture the information on the SharePoint list so that we know this person requested it, so that for the future reference, if something become available, I can go and give it to that person. So here I'm going to put same concept. So I'm going to create item. Actually, I'm going to go and then let's see, I can copy to my clipboard and go to clipboard, paste it in. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to add this. And this is going to be a create item. My SharePoint site is NCDIT. List name is going to be the same one, equipment loaner request list. Title, requester name, request email, department, item name is requested item, and dispatch value, I'm gonna say waiting availability. Request value, again, this is pending. Okay, and at the very end, I'm gonna send an email. And this is going to be the person requester email. And I'll just say sorry, just for demo, I'm gonna say sorry. And item not available. Okay, and then get ID is something, it's not right here. Let's test it. So let's try to save it. Okay. So again, let's go through from top to bottom. First thing is when somebody submits the form, there is a trigger. Second item that get response detail is gonna get the response from the item. The loaner ID and item value, those are some of the variable that I store the information about some of the from the response detail. Get items is where I pull the inventory items from my inventory. And after then, if there are some items in the inventory, which is greater than 0, on the left-hand side, I update the item. I create the item, I create the request on the SharePoint. I send the success email. On the right-hand side, which is a no side, I create the item because I want to track it. And at the end, I say, I'm sorry, the item is not available, right? So the flow is ready. Let's go and test it out. What we do is make sure you save the flow, and then let's go and enter some information. Collect response, just go to the preview side, put my name, put my email, I'll put IT. I'm gonna go and select laptop. So if we go and look at laptop here in the inventory, I have 35 laptops, right? So let's submit it. And what happens? As soon as I submit that form, as you can see there on the run history, it's 3 seconds ago. It is actually running it. It successfully ran. The flow successfully ran. And you can you can drill down what happened to each and every steps here. So this is the value that we formatted. Now if I go back to my inventory and refresh this, that 35 is supposed to be 34 because one item is successfully processed. So it is processed, right? That is how easily you can create a flow. I know I went through a lot of these steps, and maybe if you are learning this for the first time, you don't know what I'm supposed to do. There are Copilot available for it. In that kind of scenario, you can write just a natural language here and say, there's one here. When someone posts a message in a Teams channel, send me an email. So what is this going to do is say that, okay, this is your trigger when the message is posted in a channel. Get the profile and send the email. And you can see that I'm going to go use these triggers, these actions, these connectors, create a flow, right? So it will go and create a flow for you. All you have to do is fill in those teams name, those channel IDs, those get profile, where you are getting that from, send the email who you wanted to send it. This is how you can go and build a flow just by using the natural language. Any questions so far? Let's go and if you guys can give it 1 minute and then submit this form. Let's see what happens. So give me 1 second. Go ahead and if you can with your phone, use that QR. I'm not sure whether you can do it or not. Fill it in form and see live data.
So while they're doing that, when you just showed that quick example of 3 steps by using Copilot, can you continue to use Copilot to continue to build the flow?
Absolutely, yes. Just like any other Copilot product, you can continue to ask the question. Can you add this? Can you add another step? Can you add? Can you format the email?
Can it help you with branching and yes, no's?
Yes,
okay.
It does. So as you can see, live data, you can see people are submitting this data. You can see there, right? And then other place that you can also see is if you go to view responses, you can easily see that there is 13 responses already there, live data within Microsoft Forms. That is how powerful it is. Any questions so far?
You were filling in each one of those items. You had a laptop, you had a camera, you were typing all of that in. The Copilot will go find your items if you point it in the right direction, or
not the Copilot. What I did is again, which one you were talking about? Sorry.
When you were building the flow
Flow.
On the form, you manually typed in the 4 or 5 different items that you have.
Okay.
If you had that in a list somewhere else, could you just have Copilot pull that list and drop it? Or
Not the Copilot. Copilot cannot do it. That feature is not there yet. But one disadvantage about using the forms is right now it is not. Let's say you have a list in a SharePoint. You have inventory. The form cannot just directly go and get the information from there. That is one thing that it lacks. That is when form is basically you try to collect the responses. You building the quizzes, polls, stuff like that from using the forms. When you have those kind of like logic that you're going to build, at that time we use a Power Apps. So Power Apps can do that. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Your the loan ID.
Uh-huh.
I noticed you put the UTC in there. 'Cause
Right.
when I Power Automate my forms into a spreadsheet
Uh-huh.
or SharePoint, the time isn't correct.
You can with a simple expression you can change the time to your local time.
So it's not. It's
Yeah.
you have to enter a formula.
Right. You can use a formula to use it. Even if you ask the Copilot, it can tell you, can you convert this to a local time? It will give you the expression that you can use it.
And when you were setting it up and searching for your SharePoint site, and it was populated in your list, I'm an owner of a SharePoint site.
Mhm.
It used to populate for me, but now it's not. Is there?
Which one you're talking about? Let me pull that SharePoint list. This one you're talking about?
Well, when you were setting up your flow.
Setting
You
up
were
the
Setting
flow.
up your flow and
Okay.
choosing your SharePoint site to connect to
Sure.
your list.
So key is you follow the site. Right now I'm following. Can you see my here on the right hand side screen, the private group? If you follow the site, then it will show up in your list. If not, then you can always grab a URL of the SharePoint site and just put that in there. Yeah. Just regular list. Just go and create a list and add a column. I add a column called quantity, and I just put the number in there.
Quick question. So when you set the formula to UTC for the time, if the site collection is in a different time zone, what is it going to respect? The site collection time zone or your formula time zone?
That question I have to look into it. So we can take it offline.
Sure.
I can take a look at it. Yeah, I'm not sure about
Sorry
that.
about
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, I have one more.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so the title column, and that's where you put you made the formula for how it would display that title. Is that what that was?
Yeah, it was which one? The loan ID you mean?
Yeah, when you did your variable. for
Uh-huh.
loan ID.
Item name.
I use UTC. I use EQ dash and then the date and time. That is what I use. So I wanted to make unique.
Okay.
So that is what I use it. So I did not use anything from the SharePoint at all.
So if you wanted to, I'm trying to think of how we could use the forms and lists for our people, and if they wanted to create if I had a new registration to create, could I make it capture choose a letter and then add a sequential 6-digit number?
You can. So every SharePoint list has a unique list. Whenever an item is created, it has a unique ID on it, right? So what you can do is you can build a expression, a simple expression, and you can have let's say your DHS -1, 2 -3. So you can do that.
Okay.
And some of my customers, they say that we don't want to use that ID. What they do is every year, let's say this is 2025, and then they use 2025 some numbers and after 20 goes to 2026, they're gonna have to start 2026. That is also you can do it.
At that point, it would be easier to use get date. That way you never have to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session.